Hello everyone, my name is Winters and welcome back to another episode of Star Trek Online Do's and Don'ts. In this episode we are going to talk about bridge officer abilities in space. Yeah, because I just had to quickly think there, I don't think it really applies all that much to ground. But anyway, bridge officer abilities in space. So, as a general rule of thumb, you don't ever want to do any more than 2 of the same type of bridge officer ability on a particular build. So what I'm going to, the example I'm going to give, let's say attack pattern beta, okay? It would be a bad idea to have 3 attack pattern betas on a build, or even two attack pattern betas and one attack pattern delta, for example. And here's why. When you click on, let's say this one here, this one will go on a 30-second cooldown. No, this one will go on a 30-second cooldown, and this one will go on a 15-second cooldown. So I click on this one, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and if I had a third ability, it would also go on a 15-second cooldown. So what I'm going to do now is, when this one finishes, I'm going to click it, like now, and you can see this one went on a 15-second cooldown. So the idea is that you have what I call an alpha and a beta strike, and you alternate between your alpha and beta strikes while in combat. Your alpha strike is going to be your strongest, but isn't always 100% available. The parts in it are not always available. So for example, I have attack pattern alpha here, and I have a directed energy modulation 1. So when I click these 2 abilities, well, we'll do it now here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, 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 and here, okay? That's my alpha strike. So click, there's a 2-minute cooldown, click, there's a 2-minute cooldown, 30, 30, 30. I have just buffed every single weapon on my ship. And you can see all of these went on a 15-second cooldown. And what I'm going to do is now, when these finish their cooldown, I'm going to click on my beta strike, 1, 2, 3. And now these are on a 15-second cooldown, and when they come off cooldown, I'm going to click on them, and I'm back onto my alpha strike. The only difference is the first and second part are not available yet because of the cooldown. So click, click, click. And the idea is I alternate between my alpha and my beta strike while in combat, having nearly, not quite, but nearly 100% uptime. And that's generally how you want to do builds. If I had a third attack pattern, or a third tactical team, or a third cannon scatter volley, basically the point is it would never be used, because there would always be one set of abilities that would be just constantly on cooldown while the previous ones came off cooldown. So what I'm saying is, you never want to go beyond doubling bridge officer abilities. You never want to have more than 2 types of any one type of bridge officer ability. Now, there are exceptions to every rule. One of those exceptions is emergency power to something. In this case, it's weapons, and over here we have shields. And if I click on this, it's going to go on, I think it's a 45-second cooldown, but might be reduced to 30 because of a bridge officer, or sorry, a duty officer that I have. So let's see. This one, it's either going on a 45 or 30, and this one will go on a 15. So, oh, it's 42. All right, and this one went on 15. So, you might get away with 3 emergency power abilities. That's even assuming that, see there, that went down to 30 seconds now. Excuse me. So if you constantly got that proc, it'd be pointless. Yeah, see, there's another 30 seconds. But if you don't have that duty officer, then yeah, you probably could get away with 3 emergency power abilities. But that's assuming that you even have enough engineering slots to do it. So the don'ts are: do not have more than 2 of the same bridge officer ability on a build. And the do's is only ever have 2 of the same bridge officer ability, or the same type of bridge officer ability. After a while, you'll become familiar with the different, I suppose you would say, categories. Like attack patterns go on cooldown with each other, and attack team goes off cooldown with each other, engineering team goes on cooldown with each other, science team goes on cooldown with each other, hazard emitters goes on cooldown with each other. All of the emergency power to something abilities go on cooldown with each other. Yeah, so after a while you'll get to know all that. But if you notice that you have 3 or more bridge officer abilities, and when you click one of them, 3 or more of them all go on a cooldown, you might want to look and see, right, is one of these or more of them actually ever being used because of global cooldowns? So, for example, 2 emergency power to shields and 2 emergency power to weapons, that would be a bad idea. The most you might be able to get away with, and this is up for debate, is 3 emergency power abilities. It depends if you have the duty officer that reduces the cooldown or not. It does not matter what rank the ability is. As you can see here, I have a Cannon Scatter Volley 3 and I have a Cannon Scatter Volley 2. And if I click on this one, you'll see that the first one, or the second one, goes on global cooldown as soon as I click the first one. So generally you want to have an alpha and a beta strike for your ship, and you never want to have more than 2 of the same type of bridge officer ability on a build. It's just good practice. Otherwise you'll always have an ability that's never been used. But there are exceptions to every rule, so remember that. You are the one that will need to do the work on this and look at the cooldowns and figure out, right, that 4th ability is actually not being used because of global cooldowns. So in which case you'll want to modify your bridge officer abilities and go for something else that is going to contribute to your build. Anyway, we're going to leave it there for now. Thanks a million for watching, folks. I hope you all enjoyed the episode and found it informative. If you did, please leave a like. That would help me out enormously. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. And as always, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. My name is Winters, and I'll catch you next time. So until then, adios.